Spider-Man Brand New Day marks one of the most intriguing new phases in Tom Holland's journey as the MCU's web-slinger. Following the cataclysmic events of Spider-Man No Way Home, the story now takes a much darker turn, with strong hints that Peter Parker is undergoing an unusual biological transformation. The first trailer immediately sparked a wave of fan theories. It's not just about Peter's seemingly lonely private life, but also the possibility of a mutation that could turn him into something far more terrifying, inching closer to the man-spider concept. So, geeks, let's dive deeper into this theory. Check these out. Four years after the events of No Way Home, Peter Parker is living a much more solitary life. Everyone he holds dear, including MJ and Ned, no longer remembers him due to Doctor Strange's spell. This situation has forced Peter to focus entirely on being Spider-Man, while his personal life slowly crumbles. The trailer shows Peter trying to lead a normal life as a student at Empire State University. However, the emotional atmosphere feels heavy, especially since he still hasn't moved on from MJ. This loneliness serves as a crucial foundation before the massive changes begin to take hold. Symptoms of the mutation start appearing slowly but disruptively. One scene shows Peter waking up encased in a web-like cocoon. Even stranger, the webbing appears to be produced naturally from his body, rather than from his usual web shooters. This moment marks the starting point of a more serious transformation. While falling from his apartment, Peter reflexively fires organic webbing to save himself. This is a stark departure from previous MCU versions of Spider-Man, who always relied on technology. Furthermore, the trailer depicts Peter in a state of confusion and panic. In one scene, he screams, "What's happening to me?" before eventually collapsing.
What is happening to me?
This indicates that the change is not something he can control. Other scenes show him displaying increased strength, agility, and sharper senses. But instead of being good news, it feels like a sign that his body is undergoing an unstable mutation. This peaks in a scene where Peter's pupils appear pitch black, resembling those of a spider. All these clues point to one thing. This version of Spider-Man is no longer just a human with spider-like powers, but is beginning to evolve into something more biological and dangerous. The pivotal moment in the trailer occurs when Peter speaks with Bruce Banner, who is now his professor. Banner explicitly warns that if Peter's DNA is truly mutating, the impact could be devastating. This statement opens up the huge possibility that these changes aren't just a standard power boost. It is a mutation that could alter Peter's fundamental body structure, and perhaps even his human identity. The mention of the term mutant is particularly interesting. In the MCU context, this word carries significant weight and could serve as a bridge to introducing mutants more broadly into Spider-Man's story. This situation might also catch the eye of organizations like the DoDC, Department of Damage Control, which likely monitors individuals with unusual abilities as seen in the Wonder Man series. Additionally, the trailer shows Peter experiencing spider sense overload. He is seen clutching his head in pain, as if his senses have become so sensitive they are uncontrollable. This reinforces the idea that the mutation carries serious side effects. In comic storylines, Peter has undergone extreme mutations before, including growing additional limbs or transforming into a giant spider-like creature. These transformations are often portrayed as a loss of control over his humanity. With all these hints, Brand New Day appears to adapt elements of body horror from the comics, presenting a darker and more unpredictable version of Spider-Man. The trailer also introduces the concept of rebirth. It explains that spiders go through 3 life cycles, and between these stages, they are at their most vulnerable. This idea could be central to the story. Peter's mutation may not be a biological accident, but part of a larger evolutionary process, one that comes with a significant risk, losing his humanity. At this stage, Peter may have to battle the monstrous side within himself. If he fails, he could fully transform into Man-Spider, no longer the hero the world once knew. On the other hand, if he survives this phase, he may gain new and far more powerful abilities, such as permanent organic webbing, drastically enhanced strength, and sharper reflexes. The biggest question remains, what triggered this mutation? It is possible that it is a natural evolution of Spider-Man's powers, something that has always existed within him, but has only now been activated. Ultimately, Brand New Day seems poised to tell not just a story about external threats, but a deeply personal internal conflict. It explores identity, control, and the thin line between humanity and monstrosity. If executed well, this film could become one of the boldest evolutions in Spider-Man cinematic history, introducing a version of the character never fully explored on the big screen before.